All right, Hannah Storm, we have some breaking news in the Sports Center. You're reading it right. Russell Wilson, according to our Adam Schefter, agreeing to a one-year deal with the New York Football Giants. $21 million, $10.5 million guaranteed.
Wow.
So there's the veteran
Nice price.
So Russell Wilson just signed with the New York Giants after speculation for weeks and weeks and not knowing where he would end up and not knowing who would actually be under center for the Giants, because even though Jameis Winston was a fun backup signing, he's not going to lead a football team in 2025. We saw how it went in Cleveland. The Browns had 3 wins, even though some of that was of course Watson's fault. But boy oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about in this video. And the Giants only gave Russ a 1-year, $21 million deal with $10.5 million guaranteed, so this was not really a risky signing that is going to alter the future. This was just a good move for right now to keep the ship afloat while the Giants look to continue to build their young core until it is the right time for them to go all in on their franchise QB. But yeah man, if you're a Giants fan, you have to at least feel a little bit relieved that all the quarterback talk and speculation is finally over. Yeah, maybe Russ is not the guy that all of you may have wanted, but for where we are in the offseason, he was probably the best option the Giants were going to get, and they can still take a QB in the draft. I'm not ruling that out at all, even after this. Before I continue on, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so I know Russell Wilson has kind of become a meme whenever he joins a new team. I don't think any of us forget the let's ride after joining the Broncos, and for as much as people hate on him, especially Steelers fans, he was not bad in 2025 for missing part of the season. He had about 2,500 yards with an over 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Now, were there times where he made mistakes and didn't get the ball to open receivers? Yes, but let's not try to act like the Steelers had a bunch of top tier playmakers on the offensive end. It was pretty much the George Pickens show. But coming over to the Giants, now Malik Nabers is his #1 guy, and then the Giants also have Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton, and who knows, if Sanders is available at 3, I think New York still has to take him, but I've said it all along, I am a huge fan of Travis Hunter and his game, and I think he might have the highest ceiling of anyone in the entire draft, especially since he could come in and contribute on both sides of the field, even if it is just a little bit on offense. If the Giants have any doubt at all in Sanders' game, I don't think anyone would judge Joe Schoen and the front office for taking Travis Hunter. And I mean, again, I know it's Russell Wilson and he's older. I'm not going to say he's washed just yet, but if you give him Travis Hunter as a #2 option for 3rd downs or something like that, and then all of a sudden Robinson and Slayton are the 3rd and 4th options, holy cow, that is dynamic playmaking everywhere. This kind of felt like a move for Joe Schoen where it was like, oh shoot, I have to go out and fix the quarterback problem, or at least put a bandage on it, or else I'm going to lose my job. If you look at things as a whole, there is still a lot to like about Russell Wilson's game, but at the same time, there definitely are some big question marks. I believe there are 2 ways that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll keep their jobs. One is to exceed expectations and have an 8 or 9 win season and potentially be in the playoff hunt, and 2 is for the Giants to have a clear vision of what they want to do moving forward with some momentum. If the Giants end the season for a blue chip quarterback, obviously all eyes are going to be on Arch Manning, but it's going to be fun to see how this all plays out either way, no matter what happens. I wish I could say the Giants had the luxury to wait things out for the 2026 draft class, but nothing is ever guaranteed, and this fan base is already fed up enough. They need to see some decent, competent football for the first time in a while. And I think what this Russell Wilson signing does is it says the Giants either are not in love with the QBs in the 2025 draft, or they really do think that Russ can make this team decent enough to get to the playoffs. I highly doubt this decision was made in consideration of the 2026 draft, because that is a long ways away and every season matters. Like, you don't want to just roll out in 2025 with no QB to throw to Malik Nabers. That would create so much frustration on his end, because guys like Nabers are competitors. He's not going to want to tank for 2026, so that is why I thought this was the right move.
Take us through your reporting on this one. We've been tracking Wilson relative to Rodgers, and we'll get there, but how did the deal get done here in New York?
Okay, so let's go back to last year, right? When the Denver Broncos released Russell Wilson, he was a free agent. He was going to play on the veteran minimum. He took a trip to the Giants, took a trip to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Giants still had Daniel Jones, couldn't really tell him, hey, you're going to be QB1. The Steelers, hey, you can be QB1. Wound up going ahead and getting Justin Fields. Had the injury in training camp, couldn't start at the start of the year. Probably, if it were up to Russell Wilson, would have gone out there on the field earlier than a conservative Steelers medical staff allowed him to. But when he was handed over the reins to a winning team, continued that winning until, of course, the months got a little colder, the season got a little longer, and everything caught up to Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we see right there. Look, it was a one-year experiment. Both sides wanted it to be more successful than it was. Perhaps if it were 0-5 and then 6-1, we'd be talking about Russell Wilson having returned to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the way things ended, maybe some personalities there, it ultimately, Russell Wilson was not going to go back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wasn't really going to have Russell Wilson back. And so he has known that. The Giants have known that for some time. And so getting him in at the start of legitimate NFL free agency, not that legal tampering window, but as soon as the real free agency could begin, he took that trip to the Cleveland Browns, took that trip to the New York Giants, and obviously the Giants, again, with more than a year of interest in him, continued that interest. And I know that we're going to get to Aaron Rodgers, but as both sides sort of did this dance, they realized, look, yeah, we signed Jameis Winston. Yeah, we have Tommy DeVito. Yes, we have the number 3 overall draft pick. But we can still have you, Russell Wilson. And so for a one-year deal that at its base is $10.5 million, Russell Wilson goes to the Big Apple.
So yeah, this was a move that the Giants have been linked to for quite some time. I was not sure if it was actually going to happen, but now we know. And not only will Russ have a ton of good receivers to throw to if the Giants do get Hunter or they trade back and get a guy like Tet, but I think the O-line is not bad, and Tyrone Tracy really broke out last season in the backfield following Saquon Barkley's traumatic departure that left fans devastated. And the defense could step up in 2025, especially if Hunter or Carter are one of the players the Giants ultimately do end up taking. So let me know in the comments below what you actually thought of this Russell Wilson signing. I would love to hear how you guys would grade it A through F. I think I'm sitting at a B- right now because I felt like this was a move Joe Schoen had to make, even with it being expensive, but that's just my thoughts. I'm definitely interested to hear yours, and I'll pin my favorite comments. That's really all I got to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.